Welcome back to my channel. Please subscribe the channel and then tap bell icon. The soft creaking of the wooden floor echoed through the tiny cottage as Emma moved quietly through the kitchen, careful not to wake her mother. The air was thick with the scent of boiled herbs and the faint bitterness of old medicine. Sunlight trickled through the lace curtains, casting gentle patterns on the faded floor. It was supposed to be just another morning, but everything felt heavier, more fragile. Emma stepped into the bedroom and found her mother, Maria, propped up on a pile of pillows, her face pale and glistening with sweat. The woman who had once carried firewood on her back, baked bread before sunrise, and never complained about sore joints, now looked like a shadow of herself. "Morning, Mama," Emma whispered softly, bringing a cup of warm tea to her lips. Maria tried to smile, but it faded into a painful cough that rattled in her chest. "Morning, baby, I can't make it today. My chest, it feels like there's a stone sitting on it." Emma's brow furrowed with worry. "Don't try to push yourself. I'll send word to Mr. Walker." "No," Maria said quickly, her voice suddenly firm despite her condition. "You must go. He needs someone to cook. That man, he's been through a lot. He won't say it, but he depends on those meals." Emma hesitated. She had never even met the man. All she knew were the whispers, stories about Mr. Walker, the rancher who hadn't spoken more than a few words to anyone since his wife died. Some said he was bitter. Others said he simply stopped caring about people. Maria reached out and held Emma's hand with surprising strength. "You know the recipes. They're all in the book. Just do exactly what I've taught you." Emma nodded slowly, trying to steady her nerves. "I'll go, Mama. I promise I'll do my best." She packed ingredients into an old basket, wrapped herself in her mother's worn shawl, and took the path toward the ranch, a place she had only ever heard about. As the distant hills came into view and the smell of livestock filled the breeze, Emma felt the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. She wasn't just cooking a meal, she was stepping into her mother's shoes, facing an unknown man, and trying to carry a tradition of care in the only way she knew how. The sun had climbed higher by the time Emma reached the ranch gates. They were tall, made of weathered wood, and creaked like they hadn't been opened in weeks. She pushed them gently, the rusty hinges groaning in protest. Beyond lay a sprawling landscape of golden grass, rolling hills, and cattle grazing lazily under the summer sky. A solitary windmill spun slowly in the distance. At the heart of the property stood the ranch house, large, sturdy, and quiet. It gave off the feeling of a place frozen in time. Emma's heart pounded as she climbed the steps to the back entrance, where her mother had always entered. She found the key hidden under the potted cactus, just as Maria had described. The door opened into a cavernous kitchen with wide counters, cast iron pans hanging on hooks, and a large wooden table in the center. Everything was clean, but lifeless, like no one had truly lived in it for a while. She set her basket down, rolled up her sleeves, and began to cook. Her hands shook slightly as she chopped vegetables, remembering her mother's voice: "Stew first." Monday means stew. She browned the beef, added onions, garlic, herbs, and let it simmer while she prepared the cornbread. The scent slowly filled the kitchen with warmth. Just as Emma placed the bread in the oven, the sound of boots striking hardwood startled her. She turned quickly, and there he was. Mr. Walker stood in the doorway, tall and broad-shouldered. His face was rugged and stern, eyes deep set beneath his hat. His presence filled the room like thunder before a storm. "You're not Maria," he said in a low voice. Emma swallowed and stood tall. "No, sir, I'm her daughter, Emma. My mother is ill. She asked me to take her place." He narrowed his eyes, saying nothing. The silence felt like it stretched for minutes before he finally muttered, "One meal. If it's bad, don't come back." She nodded. "Yes, sir." Emma plated the stew carefully, slicing the cornbread into thick, golden pieces. She set the table silently as he sat down. He took one spoonful, paused, then ate another. Still silent. No compliment, no complaint. As Emma quietly cleaned up, unsure if she had passed or failed, he spoke. "Same time tomorrow." She blinked. "Yes, sir." Emma left with trembling hands, but deep inside, a small spark of hope flickered. Maybe, just maybe, she had been given a chance. The days passed slowly, but each morning Emma woke with renewed determination. She rose before the sun, helped her mother sip herbal tea, and then made the long journey to the ranch with her basket full of fresh ingredients. Though the routine was the same, prepare, cook, clean, something within her was shifting. The fear that had gripped her on that first day began to loosen, replaced by quiet confidence. Emma no longer had to check the recipe book every 5 minutes. Her hands now moved with instinct, remembering her mother's methods but also experimenting a little, adding cinnamon to the apple pie, squeezing a hint of lemon over the roasted chicken, dusting the cornbread with chili flakes for a kick. Her mother's foundation was strong, but Emma was beginning to build something of her own. Mr. Walker remained a man of few words. He never asked questions, never gave direct praise. But Emma noticed things. One morning, she arrived to find a sack of fresh vegetables sitting on the counter. A rare zucchini, a bunch of vibrant carrots, tomatoes still warm from the sun. He had gone into town, just for her cooking. Another time, she struggled to carry a bucket of water from the barn, and when she returned the next day, she found a new metal pump installed right beside the kitchen door. No one said anything about it, but she knew. He was paying attention. Sometimes, when she washed the dishes, she could see his reflection in the window, standing out by the fence, watching her work quietly. Not in a suspicious way, but more like someone remembering what warmth felt like. One rainy afternoon, thunder rumbled low across the plains as Emma set a bowl of thick potato soup on the table. She turned to leave when Mr. Walker spoke, his voice softer than usual. "Eat with me." She hesitated, unsure if she'd heard right. "You've been cooking all this time. You should taste it, too." Emma sat. They ate in near silence, broken only by the clinking of spoons and the occasional breath between bites. Yet that silence felt different, peaceful, almost companionable. "You cook like your mama," he finally said, setting his spoon down. "But I reckon you've got something extra." Emma looked down, smiling shyly. "Thank you. I just want to make her proud." Mr. Walker nodded, eyes distant but kind. "She'd be proud. You're doing just fine." That night, as Emma rode home in the quiet dusk, the ranch didn't feel so lonely anymore. Summer slowly faded into early autumn, painting the hills in soft amber tones. The once barren ranch now seemed more alive than Emma had ever imagined. Wildflowers returned to the edges of the fence, and laughter, real laughter, sometimes echoed from the kitchen. What started as a desperate favor had turned into something unexpected and lasting. Maria had grown stronger with each passing week. Emma continued to care for her lovingly, bringing back extra soup or a slice of peach cobbler from the ranch. And each time Maria smiled and said the same words, "He's warming up, isn't he?" One afternoon, Emma found a surprise waiting on the ranch's back porch, a freshly carved wooden chair. A note pinned to it in rough handwriting read, "You spend enough time here. Might as well sit a while." It wasn't signed, but she didn't need a signature. Mr. Walker had changed in ways only someone watching closely would see. His shoulders weren't so hunched anymore. He had started brushing his horses again, even talking to them softly when he thought no one was around. And every now and then, he would ask Emma questions, simple ones like how her mother was feeling, or what her favorite pie was. Then, one bright Sunday, Emma brought her mother to the ranch for the first time since her illness. Maria moved slowly but proudly, walking with a cane. Mr. Walker came out of the stable, wiped his hands on a rag, and stood still for a moment when he saw her. "Well, would you look at that," he said, his voice gruff but full of something deeper. "You're tougher than most." Maria laughed. "I hear you've been eating better than ever." He smirked. "Your girl's got magic in those hands." The three of them sat under the porch shade, sipping sweet tea and watching the cattle graze in the distance. For the first time, Emma wasn't just a visitor. She felt like she belonged. Later, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Mr. Walker turned to Emma. "You took a chance coming here," he said quietly. "Gave me more than food. You gave me company. Something to look forward to." Emma looked at him, her heart full. "And you gave me a place to grow." From that day forward, Emma continued to cook, but now with laughter in the kitchen, help in the stables, and maybe, just maybe, the beginning of something even bigger than either of them had imagined.